Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're live with game number 2 of Evil Geniuses versus Fnatic, a North American European showdown. I wouldn't say for the ages based on game 1, but could be an interesting one the rest of the way. Fnatic, they took game 1. It took them 52 minutes and change to do it, but they took it to the end, and Evil Geniuses and the Demon Army. Shout out to y'all who are watching the stream here. Thank you for joining us. Try to play nice in the chat while doing so, but currently the Demon Army, they don't have much to cheer about because EG are in that 0-1 hole, and I gotta say, I just didn't feel like either team executed particularly well that game, but in the end, Fnatic, they did enough in terms of their draft and their overall strategy to get the job done.
Yeah, Fnatic had a huge lead in terms of AM being farmed, and it looked really close. I thought it wasn't close until you pointed out, hey, Stormster had 3-4 lives, still lost that fight, and with the buyback coming down, they almost killed these anti-mage a second time as well, so it looked a little bit dicey, and it wasn't definitely a clean victory, but a W is still a W, and Fnatic's very happily to keep that one, and well, they're one win away to knock EG out of the tournament as well as moving on.
Exactly. A win is a win is a win. They take that game 1. Doesn't matter how sloppy it is. Doesn't matter if this game goes 120 minutes and EG takes it. It's still a 1-1 series at the end of the day. And for EG, this is a match that you just don't want to drop. You win this game, you're suddenly guaranteed top 3 placement in this entire tournament, which basically means you just have to win one best of 3 to actually advance to the LAN finals. You win this match, you win this best of 3, you're all but guaranteed a spot in the LAN finals. You might end up losing in the loser bracket and the winner bracket finals, but you still have 2 shots to do it. You drop down here, the road is going to be much tougher. You'll have to play an extra round of matches, and you'll have to play some stiff competition along the way. Plus, you don't get the cushion. So, a crucial match for both teams, Lumi. With all that being said, draft now underway. Batrider still in the pool. A couple of other strong carry heroes. Really, no carries being banned out. So we could see something like the Lone Druid or the Lifestealer maybe slipping through.
Yeah, there's also Keeper of Light, which saw a little bit of play last game, so there's a ton of combination, and I gotta say, that Lone Druid Lifestealer is definitely a combo that I'll be watching out for. Although I don't think Fnatic run that combo too much. I don't think EG run it too much themselves either.
Yeah, I could definitely see Fnatic running it. I haven't seen them running it, but it sort of fits their play style. Because Fnatic is a team that loves to pick multiple carries and take the game late. And we saw that last game with Anti-Mage and the Storm. Storm Spirit isn't really thought of maybe as a carry, but he's one of the scariest late game heroes in the game. And well, if they want to take it late with something like a Lifestealer, they could look to do so. We'll see what they go for here, but it is available as well as the Batrider. And I would assume with Fnatic, they tend towards the Batrider, but either one is certainly an option. And if somehow they don't take either, then EG, they get some Bat Bombs of their own, something they used to great effect in the G1 League Season 4 qualifiers and almost made it all the way to China. So keep an eye out for the Lifestealer and the Batrider, because those two are coming off the board very quickly here, I imagine.
I'll be extremely surprised, yeah, if Fnatic don't pick up the bat. He's just one of the more annoying heroes to deal with. It really restricts the draft coming out from EG. We don't see Batrider too much, so I don't have too much chance to talk about this particular first pick. But, I mean, suddenly certain heroes are just not pickable because Napalm just completely kills your turn rate. A lot of the supports, they're casting, they generally have to cast multiple spells. Think of a Shadow Demon, think of a Rubik. Needs to rotate through multiple spells, and in a hectic team fight, you have to turn back and forth. That Napalm kills you very badly. Keeper of Light, normally a very powerful support. Not when Batrider jumps on top of you and initiates on you. So it's going to be somewhat tough. It depends where Fnatic places the Batrider. I imagine it's going to start on the jungle, but if they want to go old school and just go solo mid it up, definitely very viable as well.
Yeah, very interesting to see that they'll actually pick up the Keeper of the Light and the Bane this early. The Keeper of the Light, I kind of get. I mean, like you mentioned, a little bit weak to Batrider in the fights, but obviously still strong here in his own right. But you just passed up on a Lifestealer. You passed up on a Gyrocopter as well. And for Fnatic, I imagine they'll have their eyes on one of those two for Era. We could even see the Anti-Mage if they want to take it that way, in which case maybe they'll wait to do it until later. But Lifestealer, Batrider, is such a strong mid-game combo. Gives you so much burst damage, so much ganky power, a carry that's nearly impossible to kill unless he gets Fiend's Grip this game. And even then, it's still hard here Hook to kill if he's gotten off rage in time. So I think Fnatic, they're going to have the much more versatile opening, and the opening with more options from the laning stage to the mid-game. But we'll see. Maybe EG has something up their sleeve, some sort of pocket strategy, or, you know, it's a crucial game. Not quite backs up against the wall for the entire tournament, but very close to that.
Yeah, you should definitely more focus on the trialing, focusing a little bit more on the early game. And if you want to look back to game number 1, they got off, I want to say, a roaring start in the early game. They got the 3 tier 1 towers to buy the 12, 13-minute mark, they got that 3,500 goal lead. They weren't able to take control of the game after that, but it looked pretty good for the first 10 minutes or so. And having Bane Elemental and Keeper of Light is definitely a way to do so, because Nightmare into Illuminate and plus any other kind of big nukes or stuns coming out from carry hero, you definitely do get kills. And of course, like you said, the Lifestealer Bomb is very scary. But will Fnatic actually go into Lifestealer? Because you're dealing with Blinding Light, Enfeeble, Nightmare, Fiend's Grip, a ton of way to actually shut down the Lifestealer whenever he's out of the Batrider's comfort zone. So I'm not sure whether Fnatic will go into Lifestealer, actually, despite how potent that combo is.
I'm just surprised it's taking Fnatic so long. Oh man, this is bad, Lumi. EG, they've got to have. The thing is, they have this Bane. Sure, he's got Sleep and Fiend's Grip, but you can't Sleep a Lifestealer who's raged. You can't Blinding Light a Lifestealer who's raged. All you could do is Fiend's Grip him if he gets that rage off, and generally he's going to, especially if he's infested inside of these two. So now, this Lifestealer, man, he's got the keys to. Well, this is why, because they wanted Kotal PL, I suppose, and they'll get it now. But just to finish my point. This Lifestealer's got a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, and he's like, well, do I want to take the Batrider out for a spin today, or will it be the Storm Spirit? Watson, I'll take both. He's got so many options.
Oh, I think early game he's going to take a day out with the Storm Spirit. Later on, it might be the Batmobile once the Blink Dagger is going to come up. So far, it looks like it's going to be the Storm Spirit on the mid lane, Batrider in the jungle, or most likely on the long lane as well. So, and the Lifestealer obviously could go defensive trial lane, could go offensive trial lane. I don't think you challenge this trial lane. Keeper of Light, Bane Elemental, one of the more difficult trial lane to challenge, simply because you're eating multiple long-range nuke, and it's just hard to survive against that. With that said, I guess Lifestealer plus, I want to say maybe Shadow Demon and Twin Head Dragon maybe could do it. I'm not too sure about that.
I don't feel like you need to contest EG in the laning stage. You will want to contest them in the mid game, but I don't know that you have to go aggressive in the lanes. Let PL get his farm. We've seen it quite a few times where you go for the Kotal PL, you have free farm on the PL. We saw this with Kaipi, particularly yesterday, and just doesn't matter. The PL still doesn't bring much to the fights until like that 25-30 minute mark. Even with the Diffusal Blade and a true head-on engagement, he's squishy, he's easily focused, and when Fnatic have this much control, he won't be getting away if he gets caught. So I think Fnatic, they don't need to go aggressive, and like you said, it's a very hard trialing to get aggressive against, with Keeper of the Light there as the big damage dealer, and then the spam coming out from PL, plus the sleep to set everything up. I think they're better off. Maybe you run a jungle Batrider here, send the Lifestealer safely and get him some farm. Storm can go mid, and then maybe get greedy and just do a bunch of stacking and pulling with your supports, or even go for something like a Prophet. Now, that might be too greedy, but I think you can go Dignitas-esque if you're Fnatic, and I imagine they'll look to do so in some way, whether it's just supports that need a lot of levels in farm, or even potentially a fourth farming hero.
I mean, that's kind of what they did last game with their draft. I mean, they went out for a lot of kind of tunneling through the jungle, pulling away here and there, so it ultimately worked out okay. Here's what I'm really worried about. Generally, when you see Keeper of Light, he doesn't give you the gank. But with Bane Elemental, he definitely does, especially against a Stormster on the mid lane. You slow him with your mid hero, or you stun him with the mid hero, you follow with the Nightmare, and the Illuminate's going to come in, and basically that would be the kill. So Evil Geniuses could pull themselves and get a ton of levels on that Bane, or they could do a little bit of rotation to the mid lane and shut Storm down. So, and we definitely saw a similar gank last game, right? I think with Beatus rotating with the line. So we'll see what path Evil Geniuses want to take, and depending on what lane that they're going to be faced up against, they have a ton of options themselves as well.
Yeah, let's see what they go for here with the rest of the draft. And on that note, they don't actually have any support heroes. That's the one thing that you look at this lineup and say, well, they'll need some now. Heroes like Lion could definitely be an option in this game. They don't really have much AoE. That's the other concern. So ideally, you want a supporter who has some crowd control and some AoE to deal with the PL illusion, so they can defend while the other heroes are busy finding kills. And well, on that note, there is something like a Twin-Headed Dragon available. Not a bad partner for the Lifestealer. Maybe Fnatic look towards that. You mentioned the Earthshaker for Hani. With the Storm in the game, I imagine he would play it, but if they wanted to go Earthshaker, it's a decent game for it. It would give them a really long-range team with 4 heroes that can essentially fight you from halfway across the map, or at least from your screen. So we'll see what they go for, but they will need 2 supports. At least one. If they want to be super greedy, they could go for the Prophet.
Yeah, I mean, Clockwork definitely not a stable support, but definitely could be one of them as well. Those cogs would be annoying still to the Phantom Lancer. But they're going to go with the Lina. Great setup here with the Lifestealer. We've definitely seen in the past the Lifestealer, Lina just straight up dueling against whatever EG throws at them at the mid lane. I don't imagine that's going to be happening, but that's the cool thing about this 4 heroes so far. they are so damn versatile in terms of laning stage or what lane they go into. And it should keep EG somewhat guessing. But obviously, Storm mid is the most obvious thing. Batrider jungle and that defensive tri-lane for Fnatic. And we're going to see Demon's BM. I love it. I love his Beastmaster. He's one of the few Beastmaster players that goes very, very kind of non-traditional builds. What I mean by traditional build is, maxing access by 7. You take a point of Aura somewhere there. You take a point of Call of the Wild. He's the only Beastmaster straight up I've seen go max Call of the Wild by 7. Or go Call of the Wild by 1-3. Just something very, very different. And it always depends on the game state, depends on what heroes he's up against. And I got my notebook out. I'm ready to see what exactly build he's going to be going for, what items he's going to be going for against this particular lineup.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of build he goes for. And for Evil Geniuses, well, they have some Demon BM at their side. I like the fact that you mentioned BM and Demon.
Yeah, that's I know.
Little play on words there. Well played, sir. Well played. And Fnatic, they'll go back for a Visage here as their final pick. So, well, it could be an aggressive tri-lane. Maybe they're not going to run. Maybe they're not going to look to abuse their jungle. You look at Lina, Visage, Lifestealer, it screams aggressive tri-lane. You can run Visage as a farmer. I've seen Team Liquid do it once in a while, but I've never really been impressed by the effectiveness of Visage as a farmer. If you wanted to, I feel like something like a Lion or a Shadow Shaman, some higher impact mid-game, late-game support would be the way to go. And for that matter, there was a Rubik in the pool, so really suggests that Fnatic are going to aggressive tri-lane. Then we look at the rest of the draft and probably a Storm Spirit mid and a Batrider safe lane, and maybe you swap those two depending on this final pick. But with this Visage pick, what do you think? I felt like Fnatic were just going to abuse their jungle and get greedy, and I thought that was maybe the better way to play. And then you get aggressive in the mid game, but instead they want to get aggressive right from the start.
Yeah, I guess Illuminate, generally you don't want to take it head on, but the cool thing about Soul Assumption is that if you do eat an Illuminate, or if your teammates do, your Soul Assumption charges suddenly immediately gets full. So you get a nuke right from the get-go, and because it's 4-second cooldown, you're very likely to get another nuke. So you could get some very easy kills. In the mid game, generally when supports, they're gripped, or when they're Beastmaster Roar, they don't do anything. The cool thing about Visage is that, well, he has access to his birds. So you could get grip and you could stun out of it and protect yourself and your allies. So it does definitely have a little bit of more utility compared to many other supports in a direct frontal engagement. But we'll see exactly what the laning stage is. Everybody is running up top, so it's looking more and more likely it is going to be offensive trialing for Fnatic.
Yeah, no surprises with this last pick. I'm just surprised because I felt like they didn't need to be aggressive, but they'll look to do it, and they certainly have a strong tri-lane to do it with. With that being said, Era will be handling that Lifestealer. No Tail on the Visage, looking forward to some big micro skills from this little guy. Oh man, he packs a punch. Fly, handling that Lina, and Hani, he's been pulled quite a bit. He'll be playing that Storm Spirit, looking to have the kind of impact that he had later on in game number 1. Trixie, last but not least, will be handling the Batrider. Off the bat, they will deploy a Sentry Ward here and get some pretty decent control over EG's jungle. And Fnatic, for anyone just tuning in, is leading this best of 3 1-0, one game away from being one of the top 3 teams in the G1 League Western Qualifiers.
Meanwhile, on the Evil Geniuses side, JO is going to be playing on the Phantom Lancer. Fear playing support this game here. It's going to be on the Bane Elemental. Beatus handling that, the Keeper of Light. Demon is going to be going mid with the Beastmaster. No pull for him, just Stout Tango, as well as a... Oh, no, he was pulled a Tango. And on the bot lane, it's going to be Sexy Bambo. So my question is, how is this lane matchup is going to be on the bot lane with Hani on the... No, Hani's going to... Oh, so we expect to start mid. It's going to be Trixie Bat mid.
I think it's actually a better matchup simply because the Storm can't really punish a Beastmaster. Batrider can, and neither hero is going to kill a Clockwork because you Firefly are still going to be eating those cog bounces and just really annoying to try and kill off Clockwork, and in the end you'll run out of mana. So I think in the end, basically the trade-off here is you can punish mid harder, and bottom lane's still going to be something, if not a wash, then both heroes will get levels, so in that sense it will be. Yeah, I think this is a nice little adjustment for them, and it also protects the Storm Spirit from any potential movement by, say, the Bane off of this top lane.
Meanwhile, on the top lane here, a ton of support jockeying for positioning, trying to get a little bit of D-War action coming on, and obviously it is very important for Fnatic to deny that pull as long as possible, and this is something that we've seen from time to time. It's the level 1 Enfeeble. You throw up on the Lifestealer and says, you know, good luck last hitting. He's still going to try his best to do so, but here's the thing, I think that's a telltale sign of, hey, I'm not going to do anything in lane, just make that free go. There's no Nightmare to back him up. Fnatic says, if they find an open wound target, that's a free first blood, and I'm not exactly sure why he's taking them so long. They're going to go on Geo, perhaps. Do they have Sentry Ward? No. I thought they could have made that kill, to be completely honest.
Yeah, no sentry wards. Looks like they already used their 2 sentry wards. They placed one earlier to block the camp. That one got dewarded, and then they actually dewarded the high ground. So with no sentries, not a kill that they necessarily could have gone on. Jo does have a point in Doppelwalk now. So in the end, it was funny because you were like, Era's not gonna it's gonna be hard to last hit, and then promptly last hits, even though it is 30 damage. So I thought that was just a funny quirk of fate at that, but. All things considered, I think the way this lane is developing is pretty good for Evil Geniuses. As long as they continue not to get caught, they'll be in nice shape. And the good news is, if Fnatic want to find kills, they'll have to find these supports, because buying another pair of Sentry Wards this early is just too much of an investment. They're going to need boots.
Yeah, they need to upgrade a courier for the mid lane as well, so that's going to be their priorities. But, I mean, man, just open with something and get that free kill. I feel like it is so easy. And you run
right
this
now,
particular offensive tri lane to get that kill. I thought he was going to open wounds and beat us right there and go for it. But I guess credits here to the EG support, staying far enough back and making sure that they don't get punished.
I think they could have gone and beat us right there, but in the end, they will play it safe. They're just kind of trade harassment, and that favors EG. The way Fnatic is playing this tri lane heavily favors EG. In fact, we might see another Illuminate in just a second. The Lance comes in. The Illuminate is there. Fly will survive. Now No Tail able to juggle the sleep off and allow him to escape a little bit sooner. So Lumi this top lane, lots of aggression, but no kills coming yet. Looking at our 2 solo lanes, Trixie, as we sort of would expect, is dominating this middle lane and doing it very hard at that. 14-3 already. And looking at Demon. Demon not doing bad considering the matchup. He's 8-0, but it's just not a matchup he can look to win. And the bottom lane for Hani, 13-5. Sexy Bambo, 10-1. So bottom lane, not a huge advantage, but still going the way of Hani, and he's getting his pretty much free farm. Fnatic winning their 2 solo lanes. The key thing is going to be, can they hold on top and not give up any kills?
Yeah, first blood's going to be very, very important for both teams as well. Looks like a little bit of anti-pull coming in for Fnatic, and they're going to actually get a little bit of extra farm coming from that stack as well. So, again, I'm going to look towards Fnatic picking up, well, they do have the level 2 already, so why don't you make that go? Grave Chill into LSA, into Open Wounds, into a couple of right clicks, and you finish them off with nukes, but no, I guess.
It looks like they want this pair of Sentry Wards. So they may look to block the camp again, or potentially with these, then you go on the Phantom Lancer. Because Jo, if those Sentry Wards come out of nowhere, he's been feeling a little bit safe, a little bit comfortable with Doppelwalk. But if they suddenly arrive, he may be caught unawares, and we'll see if that's indeed the case. For the time being, they're content to sit back, and I think they're okay with it going into the mid game simply because both of their solos are such strong snowball high impact solos, and neither one is being shut down at all. Trixie 24-4, Bottle and Boots already getting all the runes pretty much. Will get a haster in top now, and there's really not a whole lot to... Well, Demon did get it in biz earlier, but there's really not much Demon can do to control the runes. If he tries to go for them and Trixie catches him, he's dead. Whereas if Demon catches Trixie, Trixie just kind of fireflies and runs away. So I think for Fnatic, they don't really have to be aggressive top because their mid game's so strong, but I do feel like they could have easily gotten a first blood at that top lane at level 1. And now I think it's a little bit harder just because Illuminate's being spammed and the regen's running low.
Yeah, but there is a haste rune of Trixie, though, and of course with Firefly, you could kind of break any type of hiding spot that each support might be taking. If you wanted to venture up top, he does have that teleport scroll, so look towards him in terms of pushing the creep equilibrium across the river, and once the Beastmaster have to deal with those creeps, he might look towards the push up top, or TP up top and go for the kill. Here comes the TP. It's going to be on the bot lane with the haste rune. He has that Flaming Lasso.
Bambo.
Yep, I think he's going to be dead.
He's got 9 stick charges, but if Trixie gets off this lasso, there's just not going to be a way out. He actually went for I thought he was faking a hook, but no, just actually going to get caught out at the end. He doesn't actually have hook yet, and Hani could be able to bring him down. First blood, who will it go to? Will it be Trixie? Will it be Hani? In the end, it is Trixie, and that means a very fast Blink Dagger potentially coming. Meanwhile, while that was happening, top lane, they did get the Phantom Lancer, so Fnatic, they bide their time, but here comes Demon, looking for a trade. If they lose 2 supports, it's bad. If they only lose 1, it's still a good trade for sure. Now Fly, dropping low, manning up on Venus, who made, I know, Creepy's down to 10 HP. He barely lives. The Roar, deployed to kill off Era. So in the end, EG gonna get 2, and they don't lose anything top lane, aside from the Phantom Lancer, who had already died. But for Fnatic, they get the kill on one of the solos, and they force Demon to rotate top. So I think all things considered a pretty even trade by both teams. And then it just comes down to the farm. And when it comes to the farm, Lumi, Fnatic are heavily winning in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, I mean, the mid zoning being provided from the Batrider, he's going to be rushing toward his Blink Dagger. I wonder if he's going to pick up a smaller boot upgrade or something like that along the way. Beastmaster run into the Bat, both backs off, and that means Bat's going to get the bot rune. If Bambo don't, yeah, Bambo's going to pick that one up. I wonder what Hani's going to be going in. So last game, he went for Breach of Travel. I think this is the game where you want to go for a little bit more early game oriented. Perhaps you pick up a quick Orchid and just let the ganks reign. But
Agreed.
It's going to come in. It's going to be another no talisman and a boots of speed. I'm not sure if you need a second one, to be completely honest.
I think it's fine. It's something you see a lot from Mushi when he's playing that solo mid Queen of Pain. Well, he'll just get multiple no talismans and look to completely dominate the lane. So you have a little bit extra damage, a little bit extra mana to work with, and you can be more aggressive. And it feels like he's not going to be leaving this lane for probably the next 4 to 5 minutes, probably. Get those items up, just continue to apply the pressure top. If he leaves, it'll be... if anything, I think it'll be Trixie coming to gank his lane, like what we saw earlier. And, well, EG, they've had enough. They want to slow down the Storm Spirit. Hani could be caught bottom lane. There is a hook. There's a roar as well. This looks to be his death. Caught most likely to a roar. If he gets roared, he's dead here, almost certainly. And low on the mana at that. EG got to circle around. He stayed one creep wave too long. He will be going down in just about a second, almost certainly. The roar's there. The axes to fly. The brain sap deployed as well. And down he goes. So a well-executed gank, and something that EG did need. It took 3 heroes, but still well worth it.
Yeah, I mean, there was Beastmaster missing on the mid lane, so you got to be aware of that. I mean, where do you imagine he's going to be going with the Beastmaster missing at this stage of the game? It's got to be a gank. So, you know, maybe somewhat of a mistake that EG could have avoided.
At the same, yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, maybe you're just... a lot of teams tend to gank that tri-lane, right? Because the heroes are under-leveled, they're easy to kill. And I think Hani, with no wards up, just assumed if anyone's getting ganked, it's probably our top tri-lane. But in the end, it does cost him, and this is a snowball hero who so far is farming pretty well, but not really snowballing by any means.
Yeah, he's okay. He's doing fine right now. Meanwhile, Demon and his team doing a little bit of tier 1 push on top, but here comes Hani. They're going to focus on Bambo. There's no Beastmaster helping him out. The Storm Slightmare is going to be on the Bat Rider, but it's going to get taken. And the TP out from Demon, well, that's not going to be successful. And Demon's going to go down here as well. Trixie, he's up to 1,600 gold. If he gets a kill here, he's going to be in Blink Dagger territory. Yeah, he's very, very close.
Oh, man.
My goodness.
That's so bad. He's going to have like a 10-minute blink at the latest, and he's already gotten the boots, the bottle, the magic wand. Lumi, that's big trouble, and you got to figure, for EG, Roar was down. They should not have been trying to contest that so aggressively.
Yeah, I guess they said, all right, Beastmaster has a couple points in the aura. Let's, do some free pot shot damage. Suddenly, Storm came out of nowhere. Trixie follow up, and, kills are raining here for Fnatic. And
top lane, a Hulk catching out Fly, and Bambo making things happen for his team. The Illuminate splashes through. Era now caught by the Battery Assault, will be forced to rage, but waiting, I think, for a Lance to come before he does it. And in the end, won't even need to. So he gets away, but a bit of a trade there. The one good thing is Era isn't farming well, he's 40 and 13, so actually much better than you would expect, but it's not a totally free farm lifestealer. And I mean, I think for Fnatic, it's just all about this Blink Dagger, like you said on Trixie. It comes out now, and this is where your Infest Bombs happen. This is where the Storm shows up. This is where you could just snowball out of control. If EG, they need lane wards. It's not enough to have wards at the runes. You need to know when anyone TP's in, because that's very likely how the ganks are going to happen.
Unless they TP and smoke, and that's suddenly a different sort of story, which we do see a lot of teams do from time to time. But, you were saying Era's not farming too well up top. He's farming a lot better than the Phantom Lancer, so all things considered, Fnatic really, really ahead, and let's see what they can do to extend their lead.
You're right. I mean, it's not even fair to say he's not farming well. It's just he's not total free farm, which compared to last game, I guess, is a small saving grace, but it's really not much of that. And now Trixie, he'll go into the jungle, might just look to sit back on this blink and get up his upgraded boots at that, and just look for a good rune to go gank you with. He's really in no hurry because they have 3 cores that are all getting quite a bit. Era is going to be forced back to the base, but will, in the end, likely return to the lane any moment. And Fnatic going to start to play a bit more passively, but it's really got to be the calm before the storm. You don't want to sit back like this for 5-10 minutes, but to sit back like this for 2 or 3, I think is totally fine. And now they'll go bottom with the haste rune on Trixie. Oh, Bambo, he gets caught. And now last one brought back into Hani, waiting with open arms. Thank you for the present. I will indeed enjoy killing it, Bambo. Gonna be picked off here, but he will burn all of Hani's mana before doing so. So that's something, but small consolation. He dies again.
So Hani could pick up the Oblivion Staff or the Treads on the Secret Shop, as well as the Arcane Boot, which is the most common 3 starting item here for Storm Spirit. He doesn't, and guess what's on the courier again?
Bits of travel. I don't mind this. I mean, this is a game where last game it was a pickup which potentially you can kind of spread the map and give your anti-mage space to farm. So it's not that it didn't make sense, but you looked at EG's lineup, you thought they were going to 5-man, and even though that game worked out for Fnatic, I didn't really feel like the Boots of Travel accomplished anything. But this game, much different for me. You've got a Lifestealer Bomb available to you. You have a Laguna Blade, which can just instantly burst heroes down, pick them off, and You have a Blink Dagger Bat. So the amount of support he's going to get from his team is huge. And now top lane, they'll go in Era. Fiend's Grip is up on Fear, out-leveling that Lifestealer. Era going to be caught, illuminated, and roared just to ensure the kill. They bring him down. I don't know if they needed the full combo, but they play it safe. He almost had Infest, so potentially could have infested and lived there if he got one more creep of experience. They get the kill.
Yeah, don't let him have any kind of big leeway. So yeah, even though there's a lot of spell commitment, it's still very, very important to pick up that kill. Stormstrit, Butcher Travel back to heal up his mana. Now going to be going back in the lane, of course, waiting for that BLT cooldown. And perhaps set up a gank on the other side of the map. Let's quickly check out how we're doing in terms of levels, especially on the supports. 5 here on the Visage, 6 on the Keeper of Light. I'm very surprised that Visage is not really leading in terms of EXP. He's generally involved in terms of a ton of kills, and so far he's only been part of 1, so not really too effective in my opinion.
Yeah, we haven't really seen the power of this hero, and I mean, I guess for Fnatic, they were happy to run the aggressive tri-lane simply so that they could dominate their 2 solo lanes. Even if they don't find the kills top, their real goal was just make sure Hani gets a good start, make sure that Trixie has a good, easy matchup mid, and something that he can look to absolutely crush. So I guess it's okay for them. I do feel like I would like to see more aggression. You've gone for Boots of Travel on your Storm. You now have level 6 on Era. Either be aggressive or be very ready to counter-initiate, and either one is possible now with the tier 1s all being up and the Boots of Travel on the Storm.
Yeah, speaking of counter gank, I mean, EG definitely have a little bit of that themselves. For me though, J.O. has finally seen some creeps, finally has lasted some creeps, and is getting slowly playing that catch up here compared to that Lifestealer. Got that Tranquil Boots up. I imagine a single blade of Alacrity being Fury. No, it's going to be the completed drum, so not too bad actually.
Yeah,
from J.O.
Really needs HP this game. Can't be rushing something like a Diffuse the Blade, not when there's the Infest bombs to worry about, the Lasso, because this is not a game where PL can just farm safely. If he goes off to the lane to farm, 3-4 heroes can just jump on you out of nowhere, and if anyone's smoked and then the other 3 can zip in. Trixie got to Firefly the lane and then look to push it out. So Era going to continue getting his farm. Hani's gone for the early Boots of Travel, and I guess the one thing we have not discussed at all, Lumi, that maybe makes this item stronger than what we're giving it credit for, isn't the actual usage of the Boots of Travel, it's the threat of them showing up.
Sure. I mean, it's like playing... Oh, bot lane here. It's just going to be Fiend's Grip opening. They got a chains on him quite perfectly. Beastmaster Roar. The cogs come in here, and Era's going to get picked up. But here comes a double damage Storm. Storm's going to do some work, and the Laguna Blade here is going to pick off Demon. Bamboo's going to get picked off as well. That's 2. Is D1 a little bit more? Hani, though, is going to get Fiend's Grip. And, well, Fear's going to get a free one, I suppose. But still, 2-for-2 trade. A big win, in my opinion, for Fnatic. Well...
Yeah,
I mean, they lost dual core, right? So
not a big win in the end, actually, because they lost those 2. It does show their power to counter gank, though. I just felt like that was kind of an unfortunate fight because Hani off the bat lost almost all of his mana to those cogs. So well placed cogs coming out from Sexy Bamboo, the stand-in. If those weren't there, I think that fight goes much more smoothly for Fnatic. But in the end, they didn't get Jo, and he's farming the whole time. So if anything, while Fnatic might be ahead in terms of gold and experience, I would say that last little engagement probably favored EG. But for EG, they really should be very cautious about ganking like that. Whenever you're ganking and the tier 1's up, you have to expect Fnatic's entire team will be there. And even if it's away from a tower, 2 heroes can easily show up in the Lifestealer and whoever he's infested inside of, plus potentially the Storm Boots are traveling in.
Yeah, I'm very surprised to see that Batrider... Oh, actually, I was going to say Batrider perhaps didn't join a team fight, but he definitely did with the Teleport Scroll. Still being quite effective. What do you imagine his next item choice will be? I guess it's going to be Force Staff, has a Ring of Regen opening. Yeah. And the Blink Force back combo has been so effective, and it's really, really important to pick off heroes like Keeper of Light. It's
pretty much always good on the Batrider. In this game, it's just a core pickup for him because their lineup is really built around finding picks. And to be honest, score now 7-7. I don't feel like Fnatic has control over this game, despite being up 4,000 gold, 4,000 experience. There's the threat of them showing up, but you have to scare EG. You have to scare this Phantom Lancer a bit, and right now Jo is pretty much starting to catch up in terms of farm, so we'll see how the game progresses. Fnatic continue to get their core items, but they don't want to just sit back. They will want to find some additional kills, and for EG, I guess the one concern is nobody on their team is farming, even though they're not losing their towers. So it might look passive, and in theory, it does favor the Phantom Lancer, but EG are going to need to find some lanes to get experience in. And right now, they're just terrified to enter those lanes because of the mobility of Fnatic. So in that sense, the threat is really effective. Yep, Sexy Bam gets caught, will be lassoed. and Laguna bladed down. So when Fnatic is finding these kills, they're doing it pretty quickly, not wasting much time, and that's one of the reasons why we see them 3 heroes topping the CS charts.
Yeah, it's just such a greedy way of playing. You know, you expect your Batrider to kind of carry you through the early game, but you know, overall it worked out completely fine. The laning stage it worked out quite perfectly, and I imagine these tier 1 towers starting to get knocked down. So far, EG able to dodge a lot of it because alright, you pick off 1 or 2 heroes, it sucks for us, but our tier 1 tower is still alive. Once these tier 1 are down, those smoke ganks going to get a lot more oppressive, it's going to get a lot more difficult to deal with, and I wonder when the push is really going to start coming.
Yeah, I mean, when you really break it down, I was talking about how for EG, I think it's good that their PL's farming, JO's not dying, but he's kind of afraid to farm. In most games at this state, your safe lane PL, he's sitting there whacking creeps, building up his illusion army and pressuring the tower, but he's afraid to do it because all those heroes can just arrive at the lane in a matter of seconds out of nowhere. So he's not really farming as much as he could be, and it's no fault of his own at this point. It's really just the threat of those ganks keeping him back, and for Fnatic, it might not look like they're being aggressive, but the threat of that aggression is really their it's their 6th man this game. It's their extra player. It's just the threat of them all showing up. And speaking of them all showing up, Hani getting close to an Orchid, a big item for them to have. If they get this, look how squishy EG becomes. I mean, if you could just silence that Bane, there's almost nothing, aside from a Roar, that's going to stand between Hani and multiple kills in every fight.
Yeah, or you could silence, for example, on the Beastmaster to prevent that Roar from happening. So, I mean, there's definitely options. Looks like Beastmaster is going to be going for an Axe Scepter. Point Booster is going to be his opening item. Axe Scepter, definitely quite the stable item nowadays here on the Beastmaster. Decent build-up, gives him the stat that he needs, but more importantly, gives him the long kind of lockdown range. And that's going to be key against heroes like Stormstrid, a bat before he jumps on your team, or even when he jumps on your team. So, nice pickup here. But looks like we're going to see a gank up top.
Ogre Club on Fear, so if anything, one of the more farmed heroes in this game, as far as the supports go, he'll just be rushing a BKB, I imagine. I mean, you could go Ag Scepter on Bane, but it's a pretty freaking horrible Ag Scepter upgrade, to be honest, because you're never going to get to channel that Fiend's Grip anyway for the full durations in most fights, so we'll see. I imagine it'll be a BKB for him. I mean, maybe if it's something like Heaven's Halberd to do with the Lifestealer, but I feel like for Fnatic, they're continuing to farm, and as long as they're not letting the PL get his farm, it's probably good. And then we'll find out, Jo. Here's your Blake Lasso. Now the dust deploy. Jo dropping quickly. The familiars are summoned. And the damage comes forward. Jo will go down. And just the counter initiation for Fnatic, the entire team can arrive in seconds. Not the case for EG. And now they'll come in. They might catch out Trixie. He stayed for quite a while. He will blink away. Now a zip in from Hani. Catches out Bambo. The familiars not dropping yet, as they do have the stone form still on cooldown. So not able to get the stun off. But in the end, they find a kill, they get out safely. Laguna Blade's still available. It's just too easy for Fnatic to get these picks.
Yeah, and for me right now, that was a big win over any kind of a 2-man engagement they got previously, simply because they're going to get a tier 1 tower. Tier 1 tower on this particular side of the map doesn't matter too much. It's decent gold, it's decent amount of map control. And keep in mind, Fnatic could do this all day. Lasso has a very low cooldown. For Storm, he will be zipping non-stop whenever he has a backup, so it feels like these pick off. It's not like they are trying to orchestrate it, you know, very neatly or anything like that. It's just straight up blink in, get a kill, push.
Yeah.
It's just so easy to execute.
It's like, we're stronger than you, let's just take some fights. We'll rely on our teamwork to win them. And now Demon gets Flame Break back into the tower. Lasso is here, but Trixie's been Fiend's Grip. Where's the cavalry? It comes in the form of Hani, but he's quite late to the fight at that. Demon dropping low. Hani's TP. Oh, he is still lurking behind the tower, waiting for some backup to arrive. He will spot out Demon with the Remnant, which does give you flying vision at that, and gets the tower deny. Maybe they even look to go back in. Are they going to? No, in the end, well, just a little bit slow, the backup there, and had it been a second or two sooner, I think the fight's much different. No, they'll go in now. They'll zip and pull in Bambo, but I don't know if they want to chase this with no mana on Hani. In the end, they will back off, but I think that's the right call. As much as you want to be taking the fight, you want to do it with your Batrider.
Definitely. I wonder what the mid-game follow-up here for Fnatic is. Are they going to look towards to set up more ganks, or they look towards to kind of rise a little bit up here, make sure your Storm's fat, make sure your Lifestealer's fat, or do you kind of just want to group up here and do 3 or 4 man pushes and get against straight up the EG's defensive power? I
think it's exactly what you were pointing out top, and what we've seen from them is you find the kills and then you go push. Sort of that classic Navi style from 6-9 months ago. Kill you under your tower, and then kill the tower. And I imagine that's what we're going to see from them the way this game is developing, because they have the killing power. They also have a Force Staff now on Trixie, which he actually had purchased before that fight, but didn't have it delivered in time. So Orchid probably coming in a matter of seconds for Hani. Indeed it is. Quarterstaff up, Sage's Mask. So at most, maybe looking at 3 or 4 minutes to finish farming this one. If he finds kills, even less. I think you get the Orchid. You have the Force Staff on the bat ready. You have your Armlet on your Lifestealer. You take some fights here and there. You farm when you're not fighting. And you take towers when you can. But you don't have to 5-mana push constantly. And if you do it too sort of buttoned up and kind of straightforward, it could be bad as beat as we'll get caught mid. Trixie blinks in, picks him off, and this is where the pressure will mount.
Yeah, the Firefly is going to weaken the next creep wave. There is a couple teleportation comes in here. Demon, of course, with the max access, will try his best to slow down this push, but don't think Fnatic really cares that much.
Yeah, there's no Keeper of the Light, so there's no Illuminate to stop the push from coming, and that's their big counter push ability. Axis is nice. It's not really enough by itself to fully stop the push, and you'll see the creeps take about half their HP and damage, but it's not a full charge to Illuminate, which instantly kills them off. Now top lane. Looks like an Infest Bomb was attempted, but not successful in the end. Jo able to get away, and now middle lane. The action's going to break out. Trixie wants this tower, but he will be forced to blink away. Now Fly gets caught. Not a great fight for Fnatic, getting picked off. 1 down, 2 to follow potentially, as it will be the Familiars being microed, but No-Tail still caught in the cogs. The Illuminate comes through. Down will go. EG finding 2 crucial kills, and for Fnatic, they're just trying to bite off more than they can chew. They went for the Infest gank top, and they tried to take the tower mid. And trying to do both of those, spread their resources too thin, and EG punish it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if EG's previous play has gave, I guess, Fnatic a false sense of security, and right now, EG making a smart play, taking full advantage of this situation. Hey, just one team fighting outside of Roshan pit. We have Beastmaster Aura. Let's just go in and clean this bad boy up very quickly, but they just lack the damage.
Oh no, here's the Boots of Travel teleport in from Han. He's lurking on the high ground, Lumi. This could be huge.
Meanwhile, Bad, he's starting to initiate. The Cog's going to push him back a little bit. He's going to see the Roshan, which is not that low. Meanwhile, Hani, look at where he's at right now. He gets Nightmare. It looks like Jail, though, in big trouble. Jail's on the run. Can Storm actually kill him? Jail's low. Somebody, for the love of God, focus on Jail. They dust him up. They bring him down. Great pickoff. And, well, Roshan is Fnatic's now.
You mentioned Demon, or I think you mentioned Hani as Boots of Travel Beastmaster, coming to his own Hawk. This time it's the Familiars. Something we didn't really think about. A great little combination. Roche is low. It's not dead yet. It's Bambo going for his patented Aegis Snipe. Can he get it off, though? He's now taking the Roche shots. Now pushed out of the cliff, and Laguna bladed down into the midst of the Roche pit. Now Beat is force-staffing himself in to his own demise. He wanted to jack the Aegis. He wanted to be Bambo, and in the end, they both die. It's a team wipe, and Fnatic get the Aegis on top of it. An absolute, unmitigated disaster of a fight. As weird of a fight as it was a 100% Fnatic won fight at that. And now, Lumi, they lead by about 10,000 gold, 12,000 experience. And this is the kind of lineup that, sure, it's not a great pushing lineup, but this is a lineup that just kills you and then pushes when you're all dead.
Yep. Unfortunately, nowhere really to push top equilibrium. Already at tier 2, mid is pushed down. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't rotate a bot lane and work on that tier 1 tower, or maybe even better, go into that ancient stack and check it, making sure that Demon isn't doing what he's doing. Definitely do a lot of stacks there with the Beastmaster by himself because of that Beastmaster boar, but he's going to clean it up very slowly, trying to finish his Acceptor. Not too sure whether finishing Acceptor is even enough, judging from how the game's looking so far. It doesn't feel like it, but it's still a very important pickup for him.
Yeah, I think it's really what EG wants, though. You have that really low cooldown roar. It goes down to, I believe, 40 seconds when you get the Acceptor, 45, sorry. And it gives you the long initiation range where if you can find a pick on Fnatic, then that's time where you're probably safe to farm. And it also lets you counter-initiate more effectively because of the increased range. So you get the Ags, you can use a roar, just find a kill, and then your Phantom Lancer goes back to farming. So I think it's a great pickup for him because I don't see anything else that a Beastmaster could get changing this game. Sure, maybe you get an Aghanim Scepter, I don't know, a Necro 3, but that's just not going to do as much over the course of this game as something like repeated ganks could, repeated counter-initiations could. So I like the choice. I'm not sure it'll be nearly enough, though. You can only roar 1 here at the end of the day, and there's really 3 you have to worry about. The Batrider, who now goes in, catches out Demon. Trixie looking for the Force Staff over the cliff. He will force in now. Now the Silence deployed. Demon gets caught out. Flame Break down the hill, and he will go down. Now a hook from Bambo. He'll look to take this fight. They're all caught in the Illuminate, but the Aegis will get popped. Hani's coming back. Bambo in trouble. Cog and Ancient's doing work. He's gonna die. Hani brings him down. No, not yet. The clutch. Sleep from Fear is there. Bamboo on the run. Fear on the run. One more zip from Hani. Wants this kill. Can't fight it yet. Now he will. He'll pull him in. He'll bring him down. And on the backside, it's Fear. Dropping low. Tries to man up. Can't do it. Bane is a fragile flower in the end, it turns out. And Lumi, Fnatic are just steamrolling EG. Game 2. All but in the bag at this point, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, and they're leading by 10,000 gold, and that's not counting the 3 extra tower they can pick, 4 extra tower they can pick up. So it could be just straight up a 14,000 lead, not counting the farm that Fnatic's going to be leading by. If you look at the network graph, and man, it is looking ugly. Your biggest carry, your Phantom Lancer, is not even matching up any of the enemy's 3 cores, and these 3 core, well, they can pick up your support very easily. So they're going to be farming a lot quicker on heroes as opposed to a Phantom Lancer farming on creeps.
You know, the game is sort of developing the way that we thought it might, where for Fnatic, not even though they ran the aggressive tri-lane, it wasn't a particularly aggressive lane itself. They got a kill, but they really waited and were patient for it. It's the mid game where Fnatic's been super aggressive, ball constantly finding picks, and it's paid off beautifully. So they just understanding the lineup, having a clear strategy with their overall draft, and executed it. For EG, doesn't really feel like there's an overall strategy right now the way the game's developing. It's just kind of farm where we can, get whatever items we can. It just feels like a team that everyone's kind of playing their own game. And unfortunately, it's a game where you need to be perfectly in synchronization because of how strong Fnatic is in the fights and how easily the fights can fall apart when they jump in and look to go.
Yeah, you play your own game against Storm and Lifestealer and even the Birds of Visage.
You better be a 6-slotted anti-mage if you want to do that.
Yeah, well, I don't think you need to be 6-slot, but yeah, I don't think anybody on this EG side could play their own game, at least for now. Fnatic, again, not really afraid to kind of play too aggressive. Era just picked up a Lincoln Sphere, which, I mean, if you're ahead like this, sure, why the hell not? It's actually a very, very good item if you think about it. They already need every nuke they could get their hands on, and now one of them is Nullify, so it is just hard for EG to do anything.
Yeah, you're right. I was like, where's this Lincoln Sphere? It wasn't on the courier, but it's in the stash, so you got a Lincoln Sphere. You can't be roared, and that's trouble. You can't be Fiend Script. You'll have to use one of those abilities first, and the problem is when he's raged, you only can use one of those 2 big ults to break the Lincoln Sphere, so it might seem like a weird item, and you look at EG and you're like, oh, they have so many single target abilities, but because of rage, this is actually a fantastic little pickup for him. Demon will force staff himself in, gets off his roar, and now Era's dropping low. He will deploy his rage, and now looks to run. He infests inside a creep. He pops back out. He's still alive. Hani zipping here, zipping there, back out of the fight. They're fighting without their full team. The Batrider hasn't even arrived yet. It doesn't seem to matter. Era's on the run. There's a big amount of damage coming out. Trixie jumps in, lassos Demon, and brings him back. And Demon next in line. It's just one to the next, to the next. And EG, a headlong retreat to the base. Is the base even safe? Maybe for now, Lumi, but it doesn't feel like it will be for much longer.
And finally, we're going to see a tier 2 Siege, adding to more gold of Fnatic. I mean, there's a 4-staff on the Keeper, so he is somewhat survivable, but don't think Fnatic really cares as there's just so much gold in their pocket. We have a level 18 Storm, and you're dealing with like a level 11, a level 10 Clock and Keeper. This Storm will just free food everywhere he goes.
I mean, look at these 2 heroes. The 2 solos, 7-2 and 9 on the Storm Spear for Hani, and Trixie 6-1 and 9. Both of them having massive impact this game, winning their solo lanes, and albeit a matchup for both heroes, I think they have the edge in. For the Batrider, I'd say a big one versus the Beastmaster. For the Storm Spirit versus the Clockwork, not quite as dominant, but still a matchup that you would imagine he has the edge in. But they really won those lanes that they should have won, and then I think more importantly, their movement has been very smooth and polished through the mid-game. Haven't really seen too many overextensions from these 2, and as a result, they've done exactly what their team is built to do, which is snowball. Fnatic, it seemed like maybe they were being too patient through the mid-game, but they weren't. They had a plan, they stuck to it, they got the items they wanted, they waited for the right openings, and then they went. And EG, unfortunately, just have been really in the entire game, and at the end of the day now, I think it just comes down to sort of math, where Fnatic are going to have a Lincoln Sphere on the Lifestealer, and then potentially 2 Slice of Ice from Hani, as well as Trixie. Even if Fnatic has sloppy fights, which they haven't been having, I think the raw item advantage will just be too much.
Beastmaster on the tree. This is how Demon loves to play, just always hiding.
It's really what they need right now. They need some scrappy plays like this from Demon to get back in the game.
Well, unfortunately, he's not going to find anything other than a familiar bird or 2, so if you want to use a roar...
Why not?
Roar that bird. It does give you 100 gold.
That's 45-second cooldown, man. That's the beauty of the Ag Scepter is it's actually just one of the most ridiculous Ag Scepter upgrades in the entire game. Not only do you get the massive range, you get that 45-second cooldown. So, hell, roar a bird. By that, you're not going to take a fight at your tier 2 anyway. So, honestly, why the hell not? But he's hoping someone will show up bottom. Not going to happen.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They're wasting a ton of time. They're already down behind of gold and experience, and they need to farm their way back, I suppose. But not only are they not doing that, they're in danger of losing that tier 2 up top as well. It's going to be a 5-man gather here for each on the bot lane. I guess they want to trade tier 2s for tier 2s. And I guess having Inner Beast Aura helps out quite a bit if he ever wants to come out and help his creep wave push.
For EG, they're going to try and just, I guess, go for trades here, not really take any head-on fights. They're a team who wants to find pickoffs and counter-initiate. They don't want to actually be caught in a true 5-on-5 clash, and they don't want to be on the offensive. Because if they are, that's where Hani buys back, Boots of Travel's in, potentially. Or, you try to go in, you have triple Lincoln Sphere now up for Fnatic. So, who do you even go in on, Lumi? Nobody can even be roared. So this Ag Scepter from Demon, I thought it was a great pickup. And it's not that the Ag Scepter is a bad pickup, but it's going to be hard to actually find a target in these fights and get the roar off successfully.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, you said it very well. There's not too much for me to add, and again, they're spending a ton of time trying to bait, trying to get that kill. It just feels like, sure, you get that 1 kill. What does it mean? You might get a tier 2 on top of that, but the time investment you use that in 1 kill versus the time the goal you gain by knocking out the tier 2 tower, I don't even think that's worth it. So I think like EG is building themselves into a bigger and deeper hole.
What do you do if you're EG right now? I feel like
they're going to try to get a kill, open, nicely play, using the Mana Leak to break it, and the Roar comes in, the Grip comes in as well. That's a ton of spells, and they make Trixie explode, but like I said, what does that accomplish?
They invested so much in that gank that the graph is still going, just straight up. Sure, they get the kill, but it's a Bat Rider who already has a Lincoln Sphere, Blink Dagger, Force Staff. You really don't need more items at this point in the game. If you're that Bat Rider, you already have more than what you'll get in like 95% of games, I would say. And so sure, he dies, but they're still farming on their other cores. Actually, the experience graph will peak a little bit, so we'll see a bit of a plateau. Nice thing for EG, they can look to reset and do it again. Roar already off cooldown in 3 seconds time or so, and I feel like for Fnatic, they get the next Aegis, and then they really take the fight to EG.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at a lot of teams, they do a little bit Deem item purchases. We see, Mass Necrobooks, Mass Dagons. And now,
Mass
first time ever, Mass Lincoln Sphere. And like you said, it completely makes sense. Lincoln Sphere gets better the more you have it on your team because there's only a limited amount of single target nukes.
Yeah.
And if you're dropping it on the Storm, well, your other 2 allies is fine. And because you're having that 3-core construction, very reminiscent of how Dignitas picks and plays, you kill one, they're okay with that because they know that the other heroes that's left alive is still very impactful. It just forces EG to focus basically on every single core and expect them to kill every one of them, which is not very likely through all of these Lincoln Spheres.
Man, speaking of farming big items, Jo, he's actually leading the CS charts. 192 at that, and it doesn't feel like it. He's 5,000 gold, 4,000 gold beside Hani, who's been ganking and being aggressive constantly all game. We'll see a huge Lifestealer Infest Bomb coming now. This is scary. If anyone gets caught, it's going to be trouble. And the thing is, even if you focus everything on Hani and bring him down, that leaves very little left to deal with this Lifestealer. So for Fnatic, well, they'll infest inside, they'll go into Roche. I mean, the one issue is, your Lifestealer is really the hero that helps you take this Roche down quickly, but he's inside of Hani, so he'll pop out. Now there's no Infest Bomb. I don't know if it matters for EG. We'll see if they can do anything, but Trixie is making sure that there won't be any Hawk shenanigans clearing the way. The Bat preying on the Hawk. Actually something you don't see in nature, but we're seeing it here in some Dota.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of reverse, but yeah, EG doesn't know that Fnatic doesn't have that Infest Bomb, so they don't feel too safe initiating it, although Roshan's really fighting back.
Yeah, this Roshan's been eating his Wheaties, taking his steroids, man. He's big. Here's your zip. Catches out Beatiz, and that was a long zip from him as well. Beatiz will go Scepter, looks to run, but he will go down at the end of the soul burn damage. A lot of damage coming out from that, and back into the Roche pit. And without Keeper of the Light, no way you could test this.
Yeah, I mean, they were chanting up Illuminate, they were throwing out a couple of blinds here and there, but, that's it. Fnatic is going to pick up the Aegis. And I gotta say, you look to take the tier 2 bot, the equilibrium, very, very convincingly right there. Demon's gonna drop an Axis to slow that one down, but yeah, you take down the tier 2 and you start looking to the high ground, like you said. Once you have the Lifestealer Infest Spam ready to back up, to go back up again.
Jo will have his Manta style Stun. It's just not enough. He really needs like 2 more items at this point to deal with all these very farmed carries, and I don't see him getting it. So for Fnatic, they get the Aegis. They'll now control the Roshan Pit, and I imagine just get some aggressive wards up and farm the map, maybe wait until all the lanes are pushed in, which will be somewhat difficult against the lineup EG has, but I think that's when you look to go. Get the lanes pushed in more to your liking, and then find a pick-off, and then break the base. Trying to go straight in, that's where EG will be strongest, with Axis spam, Illuminate spam, and the rockets to fly as well. It's much harder to do it that way, but spreading the map, finding the pickoffs, that's going to be their preferred strategy, I imagine.
So for EG fans out there, I got a question for you, LD. They're down by 28,000 gold. This is something that you say, all right, GG, there's just no way, just too much gold deficit. They do have Phantom Lancer. They do have the, I guess, famed or infamous PL Kato combo.
Right, but it's like a 5% win chance at best, if not lower. Like EG should not win this game from here.
5% is still 5%, so
that's true.
They're gonna play it. They're gonna play it, and of course, if they lose this game, they're out of this particular best of 3 series. I mean, what does Jo need to do? What does this team need to do to stay through the game?
Well, for one thing, I would say get Diffusal too, because you're likely to have to fight in the next few minutes, and no item will give you more damage for the cost than a Diffusal 2. And even though he hasn't used a single charge, I think that's what he wants. Buyback, I don't think will help you if you're EG. This is where you just have to get items, because I mean, especially on Jo, he's their only damage dealer in these fights. Sure, they have things like Illuminate, but you're looking at 3 heroes that have plenty of ways to deal with that nuke spam, from dodging it through the zip to even just having rage on the Lifestealer and the triple Lincoln Spheres. So I think you just have to get something, basically spend all your gold on the Phantom Lancer. I don't really think buybacks will turn this game, because even if you buy back, that means you're falling further and further behind in terms of items. And for Fnatic, they're out farming your team collectively as the game drags on. I think EG, they have to find a fight, because the way this game is going, Fnatic are just getting too much off the map. And here comes the fight, but it's Fnatic who started, and oh how easy it is to find the openings. They will find Fear as well. He's caught out, picked off 1 by 1, 2 to fall, zipping in his hand, he's going for 3. What great mana usage by him. Jo caught off and picked off in a matter of seconds. He will go down to the Dragon Slave, the Roar deployed. It don't even matter. Era giving chase. Demon dropping low to a Laguna. Era with the bash, and down Jo might go as well. He did buy back, but what can he do? This buyback, unfortunately, won't accomplish a thing.
I like how the chase started, like, up the ramp.
Yeah, like right here.
And it went all the way down to the freaking fountain, and they mowed down 3 or 4 heroes while doing so. That's got to be, well, it looks like they want to do a little bit more. Nice force that back up and beat us. This has got to be one of the most, I guess, stylish way to break that high ground. And, well, here we go.
Yeah, Fnatic, I mean, they're a team that said they feel they can go to China and beat some of these Chinese teams, and they're going to move likely 1 step closer here as EG is just getting farmed under the shadow of their throne. Bambo dropping low. Bambo will fall. It will be a bit of a trade here. Hani zips in. Aegis was already popped for this. He'll go in on Fear again, looking to bring him down before Fear can get off asleep. He won't get it up. Now the lasso, 1 by 1. They're all dropping. Jo to be picked off. And when it's all said and done, it's a bloodbath. Demon on the back line. So roar Hani under the tower, but 4 heroes dead. It'll be 1 more. There's your +1. The bash is on Demon. Demon gonna drop. It's a team wipe, and unfortunately for EG, the road through the winner's bracket will be ending here. There's just no way. No freaking way they're gonna come back from this, so it will be Fnatic moving into your winner bracket finals. And Lumi, I'd ask you what you think, but you've moved computers. You've relocated to be right next to me for these closing moments. So what do you think about this EG team? They're dropping down to play Liquid again.
I'm looking forward to that matchup. I felt like Liquid somewhat got gimped in that matchup. They didn't play their best, and I don't want to take anything away from EG, but I think I'm looking forward to that matchup, and hopefully Liquid's gonna have a better showing. But I gotta say, LD, when you make computers, that Windows update, man, that automatic Windows update just shut me out. So that's why I had to come in here.
I thought Lumi was making a statement about this game, but yeah, we'll get the Windows update sorted out for you. Good thing is the game was pretty much over at that point. It's now going to be 2 lanes of Rax down, and there will be a bit of an infest. They'll retreat back out. For EG, they may fight on just considering the magnitude of this tournament, but realistically, not a whole lot they can do at this point. They're down 2 lanes of Rax. They have to keep the lanes pushed out, and as soon as they leave the base, Fnatic jump them. Hell, even if they're in the base, Fnatic jumped them at that, so not looking too good for them now.
I just love the Lincoln Sphere build. Now that the game is somewhat, I guess, over, down by 2 Raxus, we could talk about it. Again, it's 5,000 gold for an item that doesn't give you any sort of damage, but when your hero is not reliant on damage, but just raw spell initiation, like the Storm, like the Bat Rider, and I guess the Lifestealer, yeah, it's a very, very fine item choice, and, well, glad to see it working out here. This is something, like I said, back in the beginning of our Best of 3 series, I said, Fnatic, they like to build their heroes very, very differently from what we call standard Dota, and this is it. You don't ever see any other team go triple Lincoln Sphere and making it work like this. They're up by tons of gold. And, you know, it's just creative build working out.
Yeah, Fnatic's they have much more of a flair to their style, whether it's from the hero picks to just the kind of items they go for, the overall strategy. And I feel it is a team that walks into every game and has a clear overarching strategy. So I look at this team and I say, sure, they're a little bit different, they're a little bit unusual, but they may be one of the top teams in this tournament. They're certainly playing like it here and in position to take this game too and march in to the LAN finals potentially if they can win one more match the rest of the way. And it's going to be tough for them moving into that next match. It will be either Na'Vi or Alliance. Teams, I think, historically, that they've struggled a bit against, and especially with the form we've seen from Alliance and Na'Vi lately. I mean, we could talk about those teams a bit. Alliance picking Axe, and then ending the game, what was it, 19-0 in like 14 minutes? That's a scary team to go up against.
Yeah, and we're gonna be casting that Best of 3 series coming up in a couple of hours. Any early bets and your thoughts in that particular series?
I don't know. It's a match where I want to see it go like to a best of 9, right? You just want to see so many games come out of it. It really, the way Alliance is playing, I feel like they've had the slightly better form. You look at Na'Vi, they dropped the game to Dignitas, who is no slouch of a team, but I don't feel like Navi's playing completely dominant every game the way that you would expect them to be when they're firing on all cylinders. So maybe a slight edge to Alliance, but really could go either way. You can't look at that match and say this team is definitely better. I think it's just going to come down to the way the games are drafted and the execution from each team more than anything, which is kind of the boring, politically correct answer, but I really can't say this team is clearly going to win. Yeah. Demon going to get caught out. Blink lasso from Trixie. Brings him back into a Laguna Blade. He'll go down. Now Bambo. Cogs are there, but to what end, I say? To what end, my friend? Fear going to drop as well. And in the end, they take 3 more under the tier 3 for EG. They will be dropping down to play Liquid, and that's another very interesting match. Liquid, I know, having spoken to some of their players, they were not pleased with their performance against EG. In fact, pretty damn upset about it. Bulba was even talking on the Team Liquid forums, as we see Jayo getting picked off here, about how he went to class, he had an exam, and he couldn't even think about it because he was sick of over the way that they played. So we'll look at, for Liquid, I think they're going to give EG a much tougher showing this time around. Regardless of who wins that series, I don't think Liquid is going to come in and be flat the way that they were the first time around.
Hopefully not. Yeah, it looks like Jayo is going to be the only person surviving, reaching the safety of the throne. GG being called out, and now EG being knocked out of the winner bracket. They're not out of the tournament just yet for EG fans, as well as the Demon fans out there, but Fnatic looking to move on, and you talked about the magnitude of winning this best of 3. They're 1 win away from going to the LAN finals, and I don't know, like Fnatic, a team that came out of nowhere suddenly, well, I don't want to say nowhere, like the last 6 months, 5 months.
They were a top Heroes of Nowhere team. They made the switch to Dota 2, and they really were underperforming. They weren't getting anything done. They had Nova playing. He had been a support player for them for at least a year and a half. But in the end, they made a roster change. They went back to Trixie. They stuck with some of the newer faces in Era, as well as Hani, who joined the team a little bit later in their Heroes of Newerth run, and it's worked out beautifully. That addition of Trixie, ever since then, the team's just gelled. The magic has been back, and it's a team that was on top of the Heroes of Newerth scene in the way that nobody has been on top of Dota 2, aside from maybe IG as of late, and Na'Vi in the first year after the International one. So can Fnatic get to that point? I don't think so. I think there's too much competition, but they have what it takes to be a top team, and their team that's even said in interviews, they're confident that they can go to China and potentially even win some big games against the Chinese teams. They want to see how their style matches up. They're not there yet, but they move 1 step closer by taking this best of 3.
Yeah, an orthodox playstyle. Really good against the Chinese, but right now really good against the Americans as well. So I look forward to more games from Fnatic, but that's going to do it for us today. Fnatic takes this best of 3 series in a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, it doesn't do it for today, but it does do it for this best of 3. Na'Vi versus Alliance coming up next, guys. Stay tuned for that one. It will be happening in about an hour and 40 minutes, so we may play a VOD while we have some downtime, or maybe we'll play some filler videos, but stay tuned. That one's going to be a doozy. Na'Vi versus Alliance, two of the strongest teams in the Western scene. Such a hype match. Get hyped if you're not. Get your coffee, get your beer if it's late, whatever the hell you want. But don't you dare turn the dial, don't you dare leave the stream, and if you dare to, make sure you come back. I'm LD, he's Luminous. If you enjoy our casting, be sure to follow us, twitter.com/LDDota, twitter.com/LuminousInverse. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Pleased and delighted to have all 15,000 plus of you join us for these games, and don't worry, we'll have some more amazing ones. Probably the highlight of the entire tournament so far coming up in just a few. Stay tuned for that.